Namaskar everyone, I hope you all are doing great. My name is Pooja Ma'am. Welcome to this third and most important class for the daily current affairs for Rajasthan Administrative Services. This particular class is going to be extremely helpful for those students who are going to find out time for current affairs, because current affairs is something that you must do on a daily basis and not only as and per your own convenience. So I want everybody to join first, then we can begin with this class. Good morning to everyone. If you would like, we can interact as well, because I like interacting a lot. So make sure that you are interactive through asking questions and joining the session when it comes to giving answers. Alright, so without any further delay, let's move ahead and talk about the various topics for RAS. First, we are going to talk about Sanghiji Jain Temple. This temple is famously known around the world, and this is also known as Sanganer Wale Baba Temple. Remember, Sanganer Wale Baba Temple. It's a very famous Jain temple and it is located in Sanganer. That's why it gets its name, Sanganer Wale Baba. So remember, it is in Sanganer, Jaipur, and it is a marvel when it comes to showing Rajasthan architecture. It is a marvel. Let's talk about this particular temple. This particular temple, material that is used is red sandstone, and this red sandstone is sourced from Banshi, Paharpur in Bharatpur. And it is touted that this particular temple, I would like to make sure that you all are continuously watching these classes, because this is important for us. This is important from the perspective of this particular examination, that you continuously watch this class and answer with me. Along with me, you have to answer as well. So if you have any guesses, you can answer as well. It was built in the 8th century. Remember, it was built in the 8th century. It is believed that this temple has an underground chamber, and this chamber is the main Jin Chaitanya. Also, this chamber is being protected by Yakshadev. Yakshadev is supposed to protect this particular chamber. It is also believed that on the banks of this particular temple, there was a 7-step, 7-step story. And this 7-step story has a bigger chamber, which was the main Jin Chaitanya. This is what it is believed, and that is why Talle Wale Baba also is the name of this particular temple, because of the 7-step stories. So Talle Wale Baba is also very famous. Talle Wale Baba. Alright, and this is a beautiful basic temple built basically, but at the back of the altar, we believe that the idol of Lord Adinath is present, at the back of the altar. So who is Adinath? Adinath is Rishabhnath only. And why he is known as Lord Adinath? Because we believe that Adinath, who was the first Tirthankaras of the Jain, also known as Rishabhdev, he was the Lord of the beginning. There are 24 Tirthankaras, but he is considered to be the Lord of the beginning, because he was the one who began it all. So Adinath is the same as Rishabhdev, remember. And Lord Adinath is known as the Lord of the beginning. There are 24 Tirthankaras in the Jain religion, and the first one was Lord Adinath. You have to tell me in the comment segment who was the 24th Tirthankara. Alright, let's move ahead and talk about the kind of idols that are found over here. See, if we talk about the idols, approximately it is known that 1500 to 2500 year old idols are also found over here. Over here. And this shows us the age of the temple. That means it is pretty old in nature. Also, if we talk about the temple which is already known in the world, it is famously known, as I told you, in the world as Sanganer Wale Baba, first this, or Talle Tal Wale Baba. So remember, Talle Tal, why? Because it is believed that at the banks of the temple there was a 7-story step well, and the 7-story step well had given this name to this particular temple, Sanganer, in Sanganer, Jaipur, that it is also known as famously as Sanganer Wale Baba and also Talle Tal Wale Baba. I hope you understood it. Now, moving ahead to the other things that we must know is about Ranakpur temple. Ranakpur temple is also very famous, and it is in the Pali district of Rajasthan. So remember, Ranakpur temple, it is situated in the Pali district of Rajasthan. If you have any questions, you can ask me any question you want, and I will make sure that you understand each and everything. So do not worry, if you have any questions, you can ask about it. Alright. So it is in Pali district, remember, first of all, and this was developed or built in the 15th century. There were 4 devotees who made the temple possible. 4 devotees who made the temple possible, and it is built of white marble. You have to remember this as well, that it is built of white marble. So sometimes RAS can ask us about the who built it, about the quality of material that is used, what was used, what was not used. So these kind of very small nooks and corners you must remember about this examination. This examination is going to be extremely asking about the little facts and details. You must know about the little facts and details. Then only you can move ahead with this particular examination. So the 4 devotees who made sure that the temple was built properly was Dharanaksha. Who was Dharanaksha? He was a local businessman. Who others were involved? Acharya Shyam Sundarji was involved. Kumbha and Deepa. It is located in the Pali district. Specifically, if I have to go, then near the Sadri town there is a village by the name of Ranakpur, from where it gets its name, the Ranakpur temple. So remember, the Ranakpur temple belongs to which district of Rajasthan? Pali, and it is near the Sadri town. Sometimes RAS can also ask you exactly the town's name. Exactly you have to remember Sadri town, but the district is Pali. Okay, and this particular temple involves a group of many other temples. That means different temples make up this temple. First is of course the Chaumukh temple, then we have Surya temple, other one is Suparshwanath temple, and next one is Amba temple. So there are very important 4 temples you have to remember. It could be asked in your RAS examination that which of the following temples is a part of the Ranakpur temple. Ranakpur, which is situated in the Ranakpur village of Sadri town, near the Sadri town in the Pali district of Rajasthan. It was built in the 15th century. Everything I have written over here. It was built in the 15th century. It is made up of white marble. 4 devotees by the name of Dharanaksha, Kumbha and Deepa and Acharya Shyam Sundarji made it possible. Who was Dharanaksha? He was a local businessman who made it possible that this temple could exist. And this is a 15th century temple, as I mentioned over here. It is also consisting of some very important temples such as Chaumukh temple, Surya temple, Suparshvanath temple and Amba temple. Now it has 29 halls which is built entirely of light colored marble. This also I told you when I began this class. Also make sure that you know it is one of the most important pilgrimage sites for Jains. It is the most important pilgrimage sites for Jains, for the Jain segment. Okay, remember, because these kind of questions are generally asked. Now let's talk about the Delwara temple. What is Delwara temple? Delwara temple is a group of 5 temples. Remember, it is a group of 5 temples and it was built between 11th to 13th century. It was built between 11th to 13th century. It was built by Vastupal and Tejpal, something that you have to remember. Alright, because it was built in between 11th to 13th century, many people had a say in building this temple, as in it was not supposed to be known that all the 5 temples were built by only one person. It was built by others as well, because the time span for these 5 temples in the Delwara temple, which is Mount Abu, it is situated in Mount Abu, has many people building temples time and again. So please, if you could tell me in the comment segment, if you are listening to this, make sure if I ask any question, you answer it. So if I talk about this particular temple, if I ask which of the following temples is made by 4 devotees, can you answer me in the comment segment? Those of you who are watching, please do comment in the comment segment that which temple was built by 4 devotees, which also include Dharanak Shah. Can you tell me in the comment segment so that we can make this particular class interactive and interesting in nature? That would be great. Please do tell me in the comment segment. If I am asking any question, I would like for you to interact, because that would be very helpful for the class. The class will become much more interactive and much more intense. So if you have any answers, please do tell me. Okay, and remember that Vastupal and Tejpal, Vastupal specifically, if it is asked, was a Gurjar king. Gurjar king. If it is asked in your examination about the Gurjar king, make sure who has built this particular temple. In the Delwara temple only, the oldest one is the Vimal Shahi temple. Okay, who is Vimal? What is Vimal Shahi temple? Vimal Shahi temple was built in 1031 AD, pretty old, and this is a part of the Delwara temple only. Please, if you could comment anything in the comment segment, that would be great. So Vimal Shahi temple was built in the 1031 AD by Vimal Shah. That is why Vimal Shahi temple. And who was Vimal Shah? He was the minister of Chalukya king. He was the minister of Chalukya king Bhimdev I. So remember, these kind of questions are also asked in your examination. Who built what and from which dynasty he belonged to? Alright, so these kind of questions are definitely asked. Chalukya king Bhim I, it is going to be Bhim I of Gujarat. Okay, Bhim I of Gujarat. Some people also call him Bhimdev, but specifically Bhim I of Gujarat. And this particular temple belongs to Lord whom? Can you tell me in the comment segment? To which Lord does Vimal Shahi Temple belong to? Can you tell me in the comment segment? Please do it, because that will be very interactive for us. This particular class has to become interactive. Okay, so very importantly, you have to remember which Tirthankara has a say in this temple. For the first Tirthankara, Lord Rishabh Dev or Lord Adinath. This Vimal Shahi temple belonged to him only. Okay, and it has been built by whom? It has been built by Vimal Shah. Vimal Shah was the minister of Chalukya king. Chalukya king who? Chalukya king Bhim I of Gujarat. So Vimal Shah temple, which is a part of the Delwara temple only, was built in 1031 AD. So if it is ever asked in your examination about this, make sure you answer it correctly. Let's move on and talk about the temple's significance in Jain culture. Because of course the main devotee, the main lord here is Lord Adinath. He is the most revered deity, as he is the first Tirthankara, right? So he is the first Tirthankara, and the other Tirthankaras are also situated here. For example, this is the main open courtyard where we find the idol of the first Lord Tirthankara Rishabdev, or of course Adinath, and it is surrounded by smaller temples of all other 23 Tirthankaras. Can you tell me in the comment segment who was the 22nd Tirthankara? That would be great if you are able to tell me that who was the 22nd Tirthankara of Jains. Tell me in the comment segment right now, and that would be really great. Now let's talk about Lunav Shahi Temple. Lunav Shahi Temple was built in 1230 AD, and this was after they built the first temple that I talked about over here was the Vimal Shahi Temple. The second was, of course, the very important Lunav Shahi Temple. This was built by two Porwal brothers. Two Porwal brothers, again Vastupal and Tejpal. But Vastupal built it in remembrance of his brother. He built it in remembrance of his brother Luna. And also this particular Lunav Shahi temple is built for Lord Neminath. Okay, Neminath was also a very important Tirthankara in the Jain culture. Can you tell me in the comment segment which Tirthankara was Lord Neminath? Please do tell me, because it will become very interesting if you completely devote yourself in the studies. It is going to be very important. Also, one thing that we must keep in mind over here, that the Lunav Shahi temple, it has a niche for Devrani and Jethani. Niche for Devrani and Jethani, the sisters-in-law, and that is why it is famously known as Devrani Jethani temple. Okay, famously known as Devrani Jethani temple. Very interesting for that. It is also known as Devrani Jethani temple. Which one? The Lunav Shahi temple, which has been developed or built by two Porwal brothers, Vastupal and Tejpal, and it was built in the remembrance by Vastupal for his brother Luna. and this also has a niche for Devrani and Jethani. There is a particular category which shows Devrani Jethani relationship, and that is why it is also known as the Devrani Jethani temple. Alright, these kind of questions are asked, that is why you must be prepared for it. Okay, and yes, I told you this already, that it is dedicated to Lord Neminath. Please tell me in the comment segment which Tirthankara was Lord Neminath. Then we have the Pitallhar temple, and this was built by Bhim Shah, who was the minister of Sultan of Ahmedabad. And the beauty of this temple is that it is known by the idol of Lord Adinath. Okay, and Lord Adinath's idol is made of 5 basic metals. Five basic metals were used to develop the idol of Lord Adinath. And according to the inscription that is present in the temple itself, it is said, remember, according to the inscription that is present in the temple, the idol is 4 metric tons of weight. Four metric tons in weight, and it is made up of such huge weighing metal, that is why it is known as Pitallhar temple. Okay, so you remember these kind of questions are asked a lot in your examination. Also, if it is asked in this examination about the time when this particular idol was developed, time period 1468 1469, when idol was developed. All right, so remember, all these kind of questions are asked a lot. Good morning, Utkarsh, how are you doing? Moving on, the temple has a main sanctum sanctorum. It has a Gud Mandap and Navchok as well. Now let's talk about Lord Parashwanath temple. Again, my question from you would be, which Tirthankara was Lord Parashwanath? Tell me in the comment segment. So Lord Parashwanath's temple was actually built by Mandlik and his family. Remember, because this could be asked, and the time when it was built was 1458 1459. See, these are the kind of very small things that you must remember. The data plays a very important role in your examination. That is why RAS is heavily oriented towards what? Asking data. So here you have to remember all the facts that I have put out over here, I have put out over here, I have put out over here as well. All these facts and data are very important. Then only you will be able to understand how this particular exam beautifully will come very importantly for you. Okay, so remember that Lord Parashwanath is the main deity of this particular temple, that is why it is named after him. Also, it is built by Mandlik and his family. Another thing that you have to keep in mind over here, when was it built? 1458-59. But here in the Pitallhar temple we see that the idol, which was made of Lord Adinath by 5 basic metals, it goes back to when? 1468-1469. So here we have a little difference in the time. Moving on, let's talk about the other important things over here, is that there are 4 huge pavilions on the ground, and there is a basic ground that has 4 faces of the sanctum sanctorum. Now, Shri Mahavir temple. Shri Mahavir temple is dedicated to the 24th Tirthankara of Jainism, Lord Mahavir, of course, and it was built in the year 1582. So 1582 was the time when it was built, but the paintings that are on the ceiling, the paintings on the ceiling was done in the year 1764. So this could be a very defining factor for you, that when was this temple built, and the painting on the ceiling of this temple, which is intricately built, is very new as compared to the age of the temple. That means that painting of the ceiling was done only in 1764 AD, but it was built earlier, 1582. Now the most important thing that you have to remember over here, why is it so intricately carved? The Nakashi over here is very beautiful in nature. Why? Because it was promised to the sculptors of the temple, whichever labor is going to collect more dust, they will be paid accordingly. So the more the dust will be there, the more the payment will be there. That is why every sculptor tried to make dust come out, and that would come out by sculpting the temple very much. That is why we see so many intricate sculptures there. Alright, this is a very important and very interesting fact, because the laborers were promised a pay directly proportional to the dust they collect. To the dust they collect, and that is why we see intricate carvings, on the walls of the temple, all right. Now, if it is asked about the dust matter, make sure that you remember that it is the Mahavir temple and why is it so intricately carved. Now, this is a kind of question that was asked previously in your Rajasthan administrative services. As you see, in 50 words you had to write in 2021, examine the characteristics of Raja Singha's style of temple architecture. So temple architecture, when it comes to temple architecture, a lot kind of questions could be asked, such as what are the features of the Mahavir temple, what are the features of the different temples of Delwara, which is in Mount Abu, what are the features of the Sanganer temple, what is Sanganer temple very famous for. These kind of questions could be asked in your examination. So make sure that you attempt such questions, then only you will be able to answer this temple. Where is the famous Sanganer temple, Sanganer Jain Temple, which is known as Sanganer Wale Baba, located? Jaipur, Jodhpur, Pali, Abu. Tell me in the comment segment. Very importantly, you have to remember such kind of details, because RAS heavily talks about facts, and if you don't remember facts, then you have to train your brain accordingly. Tell me in the comment segment the correct answer to this. Make sure you answer it correctly so that we can keep this more interactive in nature. Whoever is watching, if you want to answer, you can answer. Do not worry if you are going to answer it correctly or wrongly. So Jaipur, Jodhpur, Pali and Abu. Tell me. In Pali we have Ranakpur temple, right, which is near the Sadri town of Pali district in Rajasthan. Then in Abu we have, Mount Abu we have the Delwara temple, right. Now you have to tell me from Jodhpur and Jaipur. Come on, tell me in the comment segment the correct answer to this. Be very quick about it. Come on, tell me in the comment segment the correct answer to this, guys. You have to be interactive, then only we can follow this class, because it's going to be very interactive only when you talk to me. Make sure that you're talking to me continuously, then only we can move forward. See, it's important that you answer. Even if you answer wrongly, then also it's fine. I will tell you that whenever you are going to answer, it takes a lot of courage, because you are having this fear of being judged. Do not have this fear of being judged at all, because every person who is great right now has made a mistake. The correct answer to this will be Sanganer, Jaipur. Option A will be correct over here. I have in detail talked about this. Now let's move on and talk about combat practice Gagan Shakti. Right now, recently, as in from 1st of April to 10th of April, 1st of April to 10th of April, sometimes dates are also asked, of 2024, an Air Force exercise which is biggest ever, Gagan Shakti, is being conducted in the Pokhran field firing range, which is India's biggest field firing range. You have to remember this as well. This is India's biggest field firing range. Whenever these exercises take place, you have to see, according to Rajasthan, very good Utkarsh, you have answered it correctly. You have to see that according to Rajasthan, according to the kind of exercise that we do, most of them take place in Rajasthan, either in Bikaner Mahajan or in Pokhran field firing range, because these two areas provide a bigger expanse to expand, and that is why it is important to know it. Alright, so it is very important for Rajasthan to know it. Main points are there that in the Indian Air Force's exercise, remember, the capability of Indian Air Force and indigenous weapons are shown. Which exercise? Gagan Shakti, which is taking place from 1st of April to 10th of April, where in the Pokhran field firing range, which is India's biggest, it is actually Asia's biggest field firing range. So you have to remember that this is Asia's biggest field firing range as well. This is okay. You have to remember this as well. Here is no space to write, but I have already said it. So let's move forward to the next one. Let's talk about other important exercise that were recently you can say organized in Rajasthan. One is between India and Saudi Arabia, and this is by the name of Sada Tanseek. So you have to remember this was conducted in Rajasthan. Sada Tanseek between Saudi Arabia and India, Sada Tanseek, and it took place from January 29th 2024 to February 10, 2024. Here in the deserts of Rajasthan, specifically if I have to put about Sada Tanseek exercise, in the deserts of Rajasthan, both India and Saudi Arabia did this joint military exercise. So remember, this is a joint military exercise, not trilateral. Joint military exercise. Moving on to the other one, we have Cyclone 1. Any answers to this? Cyclone 1. Who conducted it? Bharat Shakti. Who conducted it? Shatrunash. Who conducted it? Al Naja. I will tell you about Cyclone 1. Cyclone 1 was a military exercise between India and Egypt. These two countries conducted their biggest ever army exercise. And in this, various capabilities were shown. Various capabilities such as, remember what kind of capabilities? Counter-terror operations, how to do them? Counter-terror operations, reconnaissance, how to collect reconnaissance, even disaster management was also practiced. Okay, so all these were done in Cyclone 1. This was conducted between whom? Between India and Egypt. So this is something that you have to remember. It was the biggest ever army exercise between India and Egypt, where various capabilities were shown, such as counter-terror operations, collecting intelligence or reconnaissance, disaster management, etc. So these kind of questions are asked a lot in your examination. Make sure you know about it. Then we have Bharat Shakti. What is Bharat Shakti? Bharat Shakti was an exercise that was conducted between the three armed forces of India. Remember, Bharat Shakti was conducted between Indian Navy. Again, this all was in Rajasthan. Indian Army and Indian Air Force. And these three armed forces showed how indigenously built weapons are used. Showed the accuracy, ability, and prosperity of the indigenously developed weapons. Indigenously developed weapons, which is a part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Alright, so this Bharat Shakti was important from that perspective. Let's move on and talk about Shatrunash. Shatrunash was actually conducted. Shatrunash was conducted by the South West Command of the Indian Army. Indian Army in Rajasthan. Shatrunash. Remember, who conducted it? The Southwest Command of the Indian Army. It was conducted again in Rajasthan. Good morning, Sakshi. Where were you? Moving on, Al-Naja. Al-Naja is also a very important exercise. Al-Naja was conducted between India and Oman. Conducted the exercise Al-Naja. So that was also conducted in Rajasthan only. That is why it is important for you to remember it. It was conducted by Rajasthan, India only, and that is why it is important for you to understand it. Alright. Between whom? Between India and Oman. Something again you have to remember, between India and Oman, the operation Al-Naja or exercise Al-Naja was conducted. Where it was conducted? It was conducted in Rajasthan, India. Alright, so these kind of questions can be asked in your examination. That is why you have to remember them. Let's move ahead and talk about the other ones. What do we have to see over here? This is a previous year question. If you can answer it correctly, please do it. This is just in order to acclimatize you what kind of questions could be asked in your examination. So to acclimatize you, it is important that you continuously practice. Make sure that you answer it correctly. The most volatile part of the organized money market in India is government securities market, certificate of deposit market, call money market or commercial bill market. Tell me in the comment segment the correct answer to it and I will take your names. Do it properly. Alright, let's move on and talk about the next one. Where was the exercise which was recently conducted by the name of Gagan Shakti held? So this is a really easy question, something that could be answered very easily if you are watching it from the beginning. So tell me in the comment segment, where was the recently Gagan Shakti exercise held? Recently conducted Gagan Shakti exercise held. Tell me in the comment segment. Make sure that you are quick. Anybody who is joining in right now, please you can also take part in this. Make sure that you answer it correctly. Be very quick about it, guys. Come on, do it. Do it ASAP. Do it ASAP. Even if you're answering it wrongly, it is okay because we will learn by answering it right or wrong. The correct answer to this will be Pokhran Field Firing Range. So do not get confused. Different exercises are conducted at different places. But if you have to remember it, make sure that you watch the daily current affairs on a daily basis. Then only you will be able to move forward. Okay. So Pokhran is going to be the correct answer. Not Bikaner, it is actually Pokhran incognito. The correct answer is option B, that is Pokhran. Moving on, this is a very important news that has developed from the perspective of your examination. SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, has recently launched a web-based portal to address the grievances and complaints of the investors who invest in the stock market. And this is by the name of Scores 2.0. And this is important from the perspective of Indian economy, stock exchange. That is why we have included it. Let's talk about Scores 2.0. So it has been launched by whom? This question could be asked. Remember, because the objective of SEBI is to ensure that there is investor confidence and trust in the stock market. A web-based portal by the name of Scores 2.0 has been launched, and this is going to address what? The grievances of the investors who are investing in the market. Let's talk about the main points. So if we talk about Scores 2.0, what is this? This is a web-based, that means internet-based grievance redressal system. Okay, and any investor who has a complaint against any entity in the stock market can register their complaint through this portal, and the complaint will be redressed within 21 days. Remember, the complaint will be resolved in how many days? Because days can also be asked. In 21 days. Now there are two levels. Because of the two levels, we will be able to understand how the Scores 2.0 will work. Let's talk about the two levels. So first level under Scores 2.0, levels under scores 2.0. First level will be if I am an investor and I want to complain against any entity in the stock market, I will register my complaint and it will go to the designated body first, any body. For example, I have a problem with an entity X. So, any body which deals with different agencies, that will be the designated body, and the designated body will have a plan to resolve my complaint in 21 days. To resolve any complaint in how many days? In 21 days. And if this issue doesn't get resolved, if the investor is unsatisfied that my issues are not resolved, investors are unsatisfied about the issues resolved, or my issue is not resolved at all, or my issue is not resolved, then this particular complaint will go to the second level. And what is the second level? The second level is the SEBI itself. So, one level is the designated body and the second level will be SEBI itself. The Securities and Exchange Board of India will be the second level, and this will increase accountability on the part of the body, on the part of the designated body, that you have to resolve my complaint in 21 days. If the investor is not happy, even if it is resolved from the perspective of the designated body that we have resolved your complaint, but I am not satisfied, then I can do it at the second level, which the SEBI itself is. And if my query or my complaint doesn't get resolved in 21 days, it will be auto routed to SEBI. So, this is an auto routed complaint to SEBI. This is how it will work. What it will do? It will increase accountability on the part of the designated body. First this, it will be time saving, it will be efficient, it will bring transparency. How will it bring transparency? When I will register as a complaint or a grievance giver in this particular portal Scores 2.0, my complaint will be registered and I will get a confirmation email, and in this confirmation email I will receive, remember, a confirmation email will be given to the investor who has registered the complaint. A confirmation email will be given to whom? To the investor who has registered the complaint. Now, when I will get a tracking ID, then what will happen? It will increase transparency. I will continuously be on my toes, seeing that if my complaint even reached to the proper designated body or not. So, it will also bring transparency. These are the many things that we have to keep in mind. Now, if I talk about SEBI, SEBI is actually a statutory body. Remember that as well. It is a statutory body because it came into existence with the help of SEBI Act 1992. It was established on 12th of April 1992. Its headquarters, remember, because questions from the perspective of headquarters are also asked. So, its headquarters are situated in Mumbai, and right now the first ever woman chairperson is chairing SEBI. And who is this woman chairperson? This woman chairperson is Madhabi Puri Booch. What does SEBI have to do? It has to make sure that the stock market is buoyant. It has to ensure that the stock market is trustworthy. This is its objective, okay, is trustworthy. All this you have to remember, like a mind map I have made so that you can remember it well. Alright, now Scores 2.0 will increase so many things, but most of all it will help, basically Scores 0.2 will help the stock market to grow. Stock market to grow and expand. This is what you have to remember. Alright. So, in this manner you can revise and learn what Scores 2.0 is. Alright. Let us move forward because I have already told you about all this. So, let us move forward and talk about this question for which you have to give me the answer. Alright. Whoever is watching, please do give me the answer. Which of the following statements is correct regarding Scores 2.0? It is a mission launched by NASA to Venus. It is started by the Ministry of Earth Sciences for Ocean Exploration. It has been started by the Ministry of Education to improve enrollment in schools, or it is a web-based centralized grievance redressal system of SEBI. What is it? Tell me in the comment segment as quick as possible. I have already told you about Scores 2.0, so make sure that you answer it correctly. Let me tell you, I have already told you so many things that you will be easily answering it correctly. The correct answer will be, it is a web-based centralized grievance redressal system of whom? Of the SEBI. Now let's talk about Kodai Kanal Solar Observatory. What is Kodai Kanal Solar Observatory? Very good, Utkarsh, very good. Moving forward, let's talk about it. Kodai Kanal Solar Observatory. Why is it in the news? Because the Kodai Kanal Solar Observatory has completed 125 years of its establishment. When was it established? It was established on 1st of April 1899, and the Kodai Kanal Observatory is established on the Palani Hills of South India. Remember this as well, because this could also be asked. It is developed on the Palani Hills of South India, and recently it has completed 125 years of its establishment. When? On 1st of April 1899. And who operates this? Who operates this particular solar observatory? It is operated by Indian Institute of Astrophysics, and the Indian Institute of Astrophysics was established on 1st April again, but 1971, and it comes under the Department of Science and Technology. This you have to remember, Science and Technology. Science and Tech I am going to write. Alright. So, it is present in Palani Hills of South India. The administration is done with the help of Indian Institute of Astrophysics, which itself was developed or established on 1st of April 1971. And Kodai Kanal Solar Observatory was established in 1899 on 1st of April. So, there is a congruence here. Alright. Now, let us talk about the main points. For the first time ever in 1792 AD, the British East India Company developed the Madras Solar Observatory. Madras Solar Observatory. And the Madras Solar Observatory was later on merged with the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory later on. That means in 1792, the British East India Company developed this particular solar observatory, the Madras Solar Observatory, but later on it was merged with whom? The Kodaikanal Solar Observatory. This you have to remember. So the Madras Solar Observatory had achromatic telescopes. They also had 2 astronomical clocks with compound pendulum and also a transit instrument. Many things were actually taken care of by Madras Solar Observatory when it was developed in 1792. For example, spectroscope was used for the very first time in order to detect what is the gaseous nature, what kind of gases are present in the solar system. In 1909, the Evershed effect, basically when the sunspot was actually observable due to the radial flow of the gases, was also observed by it. The first ever solar eclipse in India was also understood properly with the help of the Madras Solar Observatory, that happened in 1868. Later on in 1899, when Kodaikanal came, so the Madras Solar Observatory and Kodaikanal was put together. Okay, so in 1968 a new observatory was developed by the name of Venu Bapu Observatory in Tamil Nadu for stellar spectroscopy and photometry as well. Now at present, most of the observation that are done on the galaxies, the stars, is done from the data of here only. You must be thinking, so much data was generated. How was it managed? Right now, whatever the data that is being continuously produced with the help of Kodaikanal Solar Observatory, it has been digitized for the scientists throughout the world to see. It is accessible to the public as well. So this is a very important Digital India initiative that has taken place. Now if I talk about Kodaikanal, I have already told you that it was developed on 1st April 1899 by the British East India Company, right? In 1899, the Madras Solar Observatory was merged with Kodaikanal Solar Observatory. Alright, and since then it has been providing continuous data. It has been providing continuous data along with 2 other very important solar observatories, such as the Meudon Observatory, which is in Paris, and Mount Wilson Observatory. So since then, there are certain solar observatories that have been providing us continuous data, which also includes the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory, the Meudon Observatory, and the Mount Wilson Observatory. Alright, let's move forward and talk about the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. The Indian Institute of Astrophysics was established on 1st of April 1971, and it operates under the Department of Science and Technology. Remember, Department of Science and Technology. Another very important fact that could be asked in RAS, who is the current director? It's Professor Annapurni Subramaniam. Annapurni Subramaniam. Okay, remember, because these kind of questions are seldom asked. Alright, let's move forward and talk about the next one, which this I have already asked you, so if you want to practice it, you can do it. Now let's talk about Arunachal Pradesh. Arunachal Pradesh has recently been in the news because 30 sites which are present in Arunachal Pradesh have been renamed by China, have been present in Arunachal Pradesh has been renamed by China. That means you are our neighbor and you start naming my places on your own whims and wishes. That is wrong. That cannot be done. So, in these 30 sites, there are 12 mountains, which includes 12 mountains, 4 rivers, 1 lake, 1 mountain pass, and 11 residential areas. These all were renamed by China. And China tries to say that Arunachal Pradesh is a part of South Tibet. It says that it is a part of South Tibet. Arunachal Pradesh is India's 24th state. Remember, Arunachal Pradesh is India's 24th state. Since independence, India tried to time and again give it its correct place. Till 1972, it was administered as Northeastern Frontier Agency, since the British used to rule accordingly. And in 1972, it was carved out from Assam and named as today is Assam. It was carved out from Assam and named as Arunachal Pradesh in 1972. Then with the help of 55th Amendment, remember, with the help of 55th Amendment in the year 1986, it was finally given statehood in the year 1987. So, remember, Arunachal Pradesh was given statehood in the year 1987 by the 55th Amendment Act of 1986, and till it got a representation as a state since 1972 to 1987, it was a union territory which was administered by the government of India. And Arunachal Pradesh shares its borders with many foreign countries. If I talk about the borders, it shares its borders with Tibet Autonomous Region of China, Bhutan and Myanmar. And when it comes to Indian states, it shares its borders with Nagaland and Assam. This is something you have to remember. Alright, rivers here are importantly Lohit, Dibang, Subansiri, Lohit, Dibang, Subansiri, Tirap, etc. If I talk about climate, here subtropical climate exists. Here kind of vegetation that exists is tropical evergreen with broadleaf as well, and 2/3 of Arunachal Pradesh is covered by forest. You have to remember this as well. 2/3 of Arunachal Pradesh is covered by forests. Also, its capital is Itanagar. Between China and India, McMahon Line divides Arunachal Pradesh from Tibet Autonomous Region. TAR is Tibet Autonomous Region. But China says that it doesn't at all consider the McMahon Line. Why? Because it says that the McMahon Line came into existence with the help of Shimla Agreement that was signed in 1914. So, Shimla Agreement was signed in 1914, and this was done between Tibetan representatives and British India. So, China says that we do not consider any Tibet government, because back then also Tibet was not a separate nation. So, when Tibet itself was not a separate nation, how can it sign an agreement? So, that is why the Shimla Agreement of 1914 is not considered by China. That is why they always say, China contends remember, China says that Arunachal Pradesh is a part of South Tibet, which India doesn't agree to at all. This is what the problem is. So I hope you found this class interesting, and I hope you will be able to follow through all the classes that I will take from tomorrow onwards from 8:30 to 9:30. Make sure that you watch these on a regular basis. Thank you so much for watching and stay updated.